Hello, loves. I'm coming to you today to talk about grounding because the world out there today is quite hectic and there is a lot going on energetically. I've been having to ground and cleanse myself multiple times a day, which is usually not necessary. I normally it's been, I do once in the morning, maybe once in the middle of the day, and then once at night. And sometimes if the energy is super level and super calm, I even just resort to doing it in the morning or at night, one or the other. I don't even need both. But right now, it's um, it's really insane. And normally when I do it, it's like, a 2 minute, like I ease into it and it's just a thing I do. It's part of my practice. Um, but I've been lately having to spend like 10 to 20 minutes doing it because it's just like the energy is so like up here right now. It's just like necessary to just like bring it all down. Or not bring it down, but at least stay in your in my body while I'm experiencing this. Um, so I mean, a lot of practitioners talk about this grounding. You have to ground yourself. You have to ground yourself. And I remember when, I mean, well, to be quite frank, the first had to be the first 10 or 15 years of my practice. I didn't know anything about grounding myself, or if I heard about it, I'd just kind of gloss over it or ignore it because I didn't think that it was important. Um, and I loved being up here, so I just kind of relished in that and lived like that for a long time. Um, but here's what happens if you don't ground yourself. And here's what I feel like most practitioners will not talk about is the in-depth of why. And that's what I want to go through with you today because, it's like I said, so many practitioners can say, oh, ground yourself, you need to ground yourself, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't know why. It doesn't mean anything if you don't have any basis for it in your mind of why this is important. Um, and the reason why is that it is basic protection. Um, if you are solely up here, not connected at all to your body, to your physical body, which is what grounding does. It brings you back into your body. It brings you back to the earth. It connects you to the earth. And sure, you can be really connected to the earth and not grounded at all. That's how I was too. So don't let earth fool you. I used to, run around rolling in the grass. I still do. I love the outdoors. As I gesture to the outdoors that you can't see because the computer's pointed in this general direction, but there's outdoors that way. Anywho, I have plants in my house, again, gesturing to plants you can't see, the rose bushes I showed in my last video. Um, but yeah, I used to run around all the time, barefoot, like I said, I still do, barefoot, over gravel, into the sand, into the grass, into the woods, hugging trees. Yes, I'm a tree hugger. Ha ha ha. Laugh at me, call me a hippie, whatever. The point is, I was and still am extremely connected to the earth, but there's a very big difference as to how I used to be versus how I am now. Because how I used to be when I was solely up here and not grounded at all, um, when I was in nature, I was constantly striving to see the energy of everything and um, feel the ethereal energy that came with everything I was walking on, everything I was touching. And so by being up here, and also a huge part of that as well is seeking outside the self and not seeking within, which I'll definitely be doing a video or an article on at some point, perhaps even both, because it's such a vital subject. especially where a magical practice is concerned, or a metaphysical practice or spiritual practice. That's really intense. Um, or even one that's not intense. It's just necessary in general. But anyways, I digress and I ramble. Um, so I was looking around for other energies to grasp onto. And so what would happen is that instead of connecting with the earth, I was connecting with the energies that were resting on the earth. So I was connecting with the energies of other people who had walked on it. I was connecting with Fey energy, with elemental energy, with stuff that people had grounded, negative energies that people had grounded and left there, and then I would scoop up. Um, uh, the list goes on. So that's how I was then. The difference is now being truly grounded and now looking to the earth for that grounding. I'm connecting deep into the earth, and I'm connecting to the soil and to the roots and to my own roots, be they the roots of my body, my DNA. Where did my DNA come from? Looking at my family tree, looking at where I descended from, really looking into my roots, into my DNA, into my physical body, feeling myself physically, which is something I do also every morning when I wake up, and every night before bed. I just kind of grab hold of my body. I twist, I crack, I massage my feet a little bit, I massage my arms a little bit. I'll give myself a hug. Just stuff that really stabilizes me in the, hey, I am on this earth whether I like it or not. I am in this protective container of skin and bone whether I like it or not. Um, and I have to embrace that while I'm here in order to get the most out of life here, in order to help people the most that I can here on this earth, and also in order to truly connect into myself, and get the most out of me that I possibly can. Um, and and then in the earth aspect of things, I'm connecting to roots, as in tree roots, as in mycelial roots, as in roots of plants and grass and whatever, roots, right? And okay, so why is that important? Why all the roots? Well, roots are literally ingrained in the earth. They are holding soil together. They are holding life forms up, and they are cementing things um, within the ground, within the earth. Um, and so to mimic that, you can easily imagine your own roots, like tree roots, growing from your feet, or if you're lying down, you can imagine them coming out of like your tailbone, and just sturdying themselves. That's my word of the day, I guess. Sturdying themselves into the earth and really planting themselves there, planting yourself there, so that you're really connected in, so that you're really brought down. Because that's what it's all about. It's like those people, and yes, I did used to be one of these people. That's how I know this so well. It's like those people who are so ego driven and so power driven and power tripping, and just like, oh, I'm the best, I'm on a pedestal, bow to me, I am your master. And then all of a sudden something happens in their lives where they're flipped onto their heads, essentially, because somebody brings them down. Um, and and all of a sudden it's like, boom, slap in the face. Whoa, okay. I guess I'm humbled now. I guess I'm brought down now. But the bringing down is a lesson in of itself because you can't constantly stay up here. It doesn't work. You lose clarity of everything. You lose sight of who you are. You lose sight of how you treat other people. You lose sight of who is entering your energy field and who isn't. I don't care how many blue bubbles you surround yourself with to protect your psychic energy sphere. I don't care how many violet flames you throw out. If you are up here all the time and not grounding it and not grounding yourself, you are that much more susceptible to other energies entering your field, latching onto you, cording onto you, potentially even leeching off of you and leeching off of your energy. Um, and and you're also that much more susceptible to them using you, and you're that much more susceptible to psychic attacks. Both of which are really not fun or necessary to deal with. And this is a very simple way that you can avoid those things or make them less likely to occur. So I wanted to. This is just fun. I googled the word ground, or grounding, and I just wanted to read to you some of the definitions because they're kind of interesting. One is prohibit or prevent, in parentheses, a pilot or an aircraft from flying. So if you think about that in the human sense, we as humans are not meant to fly, at least not all the time. We're meant to fly spiritually, we're meant to fly astrally, but physically we're not meant to fly. And if you are up here all the time and you're not grounded, it's kind of like you're constantly separated from your mental and spiritual self is separated from your physical self. And so it's kind of like you're flying all the time. So it's unnatural as a human being. You're defying your own humanity by doing that. The second is to give, in parentheses, something abstract, excuse me, a firm theoretical or practical basis. The example is the study of history must be grounded in a thorough knowledge of the past. And so I take that in this practice as well. A study of metaphysics must be thoroughly grounded in the physical, because in order to get metaphysical, you have to be physical to begin with. Meta means beyond. So you're beyond physics. You have to know what physics is before you can get into the meta of it. And so you have to know how the logic of it works. You have to know how the humanity of it works, how this solidity of this human body you're in, of this earth that you're standing on and walking on and laying on. You have to know how that works. Sorry, I'm just reading because these next ones aren't really, they're kind of, about baseball and whatnot. Oh, and then the fourth one, I skipped over three. The fourth one is to connect an electrical device with the ground. And if you think about that, electricity is energy, obviously. And if you think of how electricity works, right? It's like you plug it into a socket and it runs, and it's still running when you pull it out. And so when you're grounding electricity, you're shutting it off, and you're letting the energy just kind of slowly dissipate, if you will, just calm itself. That's what I'm looking for. You're letting it calm itself. And if you think of humans as electrical devices, when we ground ourselves, we're calming the electricity. We are taking that shock down a level, right? We're making it so that we are not shocking ourselves. We're not electrocuting ourselves. We're not electrocuting others. And we aren't bringing that crazy static energy everywhere, right? Like, if we were doing that, we'd be walking around like this all the time. Um, uh, so, so in order not, and I feel like I was walking around like that all the time when I wasn't grounded. Just to give you an illustration, I felt like I was constantly, buzzing or jumpy or whatever, and then after expending so much of that energy, it's like all of a sudden, boom, you crash and you don't know what to do with yourself. Because you can only run on that for so long, right? And if that's not grounded, then guess what? You're dealing with depression. Congratulations. Um, so, so grounding is. I'll wrap this up in couple bullet points here. Grounding is really important on a few different levels. One, it helps you to stay in your body on this earth. Two, it helps you to appreciate your body on this earth. Three, it helps you to stay connected to the earth and connected to the ground that you're walking on. Four, it helps you to appreciate that. Five, it helps to protect you psychically and spiritually so that other beings and other spirits and other people's energy can't attach to you and use you as easily as they otherwise could if you were not grounding yourself. Um, uh, and and six, it helps you to stay balanced between this world and this world. It helps you to stay balanced within yourself as a spiritual person, and within your body astrally versus your physical body. And seven, because of that balance, you aren't constantly going between this and depression. So you're avoiding depression by staying grounded. Now, that's not to say that other things might not cause depression as well, but I'm saying this is one way to avoid it. So I hope that this video was helpful to you. And oh, well, it would probably be even more helpful if I told you how to ground, because I just spent, what did I just spend? I just spent about 20 minutes telling you why you should ground yourself. It would probably be helpful to tell you how to do it. And the answer is anything physical. Like I said, I like just kind of touching my skin, really feeling into my muscles, into my bones, kind of massaging myself, stretching, cracking my back or my fingers, rolling my head. Also ecstatic dance, or dance of any form really. But I seriously love ecstatic dance. I'm like obsessed with it. Which is basically interpretive dance, essentially. So you're just kind of going free flow with your own energy, which really helps you to connect into your own energy and see how are you flowing, how is this moving, and you're also grounding it at the same time as you're firmly moving in your body and moving on the ground, and you're really just helping to release and helping to connect into yourself and into the ground. Let's see, another thing is guided meditations for grounding. If you YouTube exactly that phrase, you'll come up with like 20 different videos that are just like, some of them are okay. There's some that are really brilliant. And it all just depends on what works for you, right? Like if I hear a video and it's all about the angels helping you ground, that's not necessarily my thing. So I usually stop it halfway, or not halfway through, but as soon as they say that, I stop it and I'm like, okay, I'm over this, and I look for the next one. But maybe the angels work for you, right? So maybe you would choose that video. Um, so yeah, so it's all about finding out what works for you. Um, I think also showers and baths are also really helpful, especially if you have like an exfoliant of some sort and you can really feel the texture on your skin. You can really feel the blood being moved around within you, all of that flow, um, uh, the feel of the water on your skin. Um, what else? I'm trying to think of what else. Um, I mean exercise in general. You're really feeling your body. Um, and if you have like a soreness in your body, to just really pay attention to that. That could be a signal that you're not grounded enough and that you should be paying attention more to your body. When you're eating really, and I mentioned this in my Thanksgiving article as well, just really paying attention to the food that you're eating, right? Pay attention to the texture on your tongue. Pay attention to the way that it's going down your throat, through your body, through your intestines, through your stomach. Well, I guess stomach first, but you know the order of things. The point is, feel it really going through you, and nourishing you. Um, Really taking the energy and the cells from that food that you've just consumed and really pulling it into your body and making the best of it that you can. Um, let's see what else. Um, and also just being really mindful of your body. You know, sometimes when you're walking, maybe you can really feel your feet as you're walking on the ground. Or if you're sitting in a chair, really feeling how your body is sitting in a chair. Is your neck uncomfortable? My jaw just cracked. My jaw is always I always know I need to ground myself because I can feel I clench my jaw and I feel like it's my jaw is trying to pull me down. It's like you gotta be back down here, and it's that dichotomy. So maybe looking for little signs like that as well. Um, but anyways, I'm sure I'll think about more after this, and I might post a second video or an article or something pertaining to all of this. Um, but yeah, so if you have any questions at all, again, I hope that this video was helpful to you in explaining why it's important to ground and some ways in which you can do it. And if you have any questions at all whatsoever, feel free to comment below, or you can email doorwaytoself@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. You can send a message. And that's about all for now. Thank you so much for watching and for taking this time to invest in yourself. I'm sending lots of love.